Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Hillary Clinton wants to abolish it, believe me. She wants to abolish our Second Amendment.
I think they didn't deny it. I don't think anybody denied it.
Other presidents did not call. They'd write letters, and some presidents didn't do anything.
Many people have come out and said I'm right.
You really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
Hello and welcome to Fallacious Trump, the podcast where we use the insane ramblings of old Taint Nick to explain logical fallacies. I'm your host, Jim.
And I'm your other host, Mark. A logical fallacy is an error in reasoning that results in bad or invalid arguments. And the logical fallacy we're looking at this Christmas week is the Argumentum Ad Feminam.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, old Taint Nick. Nice. Yep.
So, yeah, Argumentum Ad Feminam. This is one that I came across quite recently, and I assumed it was a recently coined fallacy, because I haven't really seen it in most of the other lists that I look at on a fairly regular basis when I'm trying to figure out which episode we're going to do next.
Yeah.
It's not one that I've noticed before, at least. And it's not in a few of the lists.
Yeah.
But it turns out it's quite old, not as old as some of them, but it's like the earliest use according to the Oxford English Dictionary is from 1839.
Oh, wow.
So it's not a recent one.
Yeah.
But where I came across it was in a paper from 2024.
Wow.
Called The Use of Gendered Attacks to Discredit the Women Participating in 2021 Hearings of the Select Committee to Investigate the January 6th Attack of the United States Capitol.
Yeah.
Argumentum Ad Feminam by Dale A. Herbeck and Sarah A. Meltretter Drury. And that was published in the Proceedings of the 10th Conference of the International Society for the Study of Argumentation. Which I thought, that's cool. I didn't realise there was an institute for the study, a society for the study of argumentation.
Yeah.
So in the abstract, in the introduction, in fact, for the paper, they start by defining ad hominem, because this is a variation of the ad hominem attack.
Yeah.
They say argumentation theorists frequently discount such attacks as fallacies of relevance. While there may be a connection between the premises and the conclusion under closer scrutiny, Rescher explains the premises fail to provide sufficiently relevant evidence for the conclusion. It is, Cliff, 2017, concludes, an attempt to distract from the matter at hand by introducing irrelevant details aimed at discrediting the individual.
Right.
So that Cliff is me, and that 2017 is the Fallacious Trump book that this podcast is based on. Right. So that's me being cited in a fucking paper about logical fallacy.
Wow! Yay! Yay! And you're not even citing yourself like we came across last episode. Wow. Yeah.
So I thought we should probably discuss this thing. So the ad feminam, as in contrast to the ad hominem. Hominum, the Latin, means man in the sense of human, not man in the gendered sense. Yeah. Because of the patriarchy. Man, the human is like the fact that we call humans man is part of the issue. So feminam is an attempt to add a gendered version of that, which is when attacks are used against women, usually because they're women, to dismiss their arguments or dismiss anything they have to say. And obviously, it wasn't hard to find examples of Trump being sexist and misogynistic towards women and attacking them in ways that he would maybe attack men, but usually does so less viciously. And so instead of picking out just one or two, I made a little bit of a compilation.
Right.
She's somehow a woman. Somehow she's doing better than he did. I think the woman is, she's got serious problems. Let me put it that way.
What did you make of Fox
Mental
News?
problems.
Well, I just don't respect her as a journalist. I have no respect for her. I don't think she's very good. I think she's highly overrated. You know, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever.
She's a horrible person, knows nothing about me. I see her, she's now the great expert on Donald Trump. I beat her so badly. She's a vicious, horrible person. Let me just tell you, you are an obnoxious, a terrible reporter, and it's always the same thing with you. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person?
Believe me, she would not be my first choice, that I can tell you.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver.
Replenish the Social
Such a nasty
Security
woman.
Trust Fund.
Well, I think the only card she has is the woman's card. She's got nothing else going. And frankly, if Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote.
Quiet, Piggy.
Nobody has more respect for women than I do. Nobody.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It does seem, I don't know if it's ramped up over the last 6 months or so, but certainly in terms of attacks on female journalists, that he seems to be just insulting them and telling them to shut up and stuff like that. And the quiet piggy thing that was kind of one of the most recent is a really good example of that. And it's something that he has done. I mean, when I was looking for this, I found clips from going way back and certainly from his first term. He kind of tends to do it even more with women of colour,
right?
With various journalists who he has sparred with over the years, and sometimes he'll bring slight kind of racial overtones into his misogyny when that is the case.
I discovered the word misogynoir.
Yes.
Which is a kind of mixture
Absolutely.
of misogyny and racial prejudice.
Absolutely, yeah. So that is something that he does, and it does seem like he's kind of a bit less filtered more recently.
Yes, exactly.
And he's just calling them stupid.
Kind of, he's just not checking himself,
rather than calling them fake news, which he will also do.
Yeah, and avoiding having to be called out on, well, what's the basis of what's your evidence for calling this person stupid and ignorant and malevolent? And it's a shortcut to just, I mean, that's the shortest possible one, isn't it? Be quiet piggy.
Yeah.
It's just the hell.
Yeah.
And
and it's dismissive. It is a way of dealing with a question that you don't want to answer by not dealing with it. And that's how he uses it with reporters, how he uses it with opponents like Kamala Harris or Hillary Clinton to suggest that what they have to say isn't worth listening to because it's just a woman.
Yeah, and all of his, AOC and everybody else that he has derogatory names for.
Yeah, and it should, to be clear, he is also very insulting and derogatory towards men as well.
Yeah.
But there does seem to be a bit of an edge to it.
Because does he provide a bit more evidence for his damnation of
he
their
never provides any evidence for anyone. What are you thinking about?
No.
Crazy person.
I'm confusing him with other reasonable human beings.
No, I think it's just the vitriol and the... There's, I mean, it's possible it's something kind of with the viewer is bringing to it in some cases, but it feels like he is more incensed that he's being questioned by a woman, that's less acceptable. That there's no, I mean, it's not true of him for the most part, but in most cases in society, you start from a position of assuming respect and assuming kind of mutual understanding, and if you already dislike the person, I guess that sometimes breaks down. And but he starts by not assuming respect in any way, not respecting anyone, and expecting that only to go one way. And when it's a woman who is questioning him, he finds it seems more unacceptable.
Yeah,
that 1.5 minute compilation or so.
Yeah,
is, I mean, that was very, very cut down compared to what I could have put together. I mean, there are 10-minute plus clips just on YouTube that are compilations of things insults that he said to women. So it's just a feature of his speech.
And now is the time, I think, for Mark's British Politics Corner.
Well, apart from, which we looked at the time, I think, apart from Tory donor Frank Hester's 2024 statement that Diane Abbott made him want to hate all black women and should be shot, there are actually very few outright and out loud comments made on the record by male British politicians or female British politicians about to and at women. So the examples that we're going to use are the reports of those kind of behaviours made by the women on the receiving end. So 7 years prior to Hester's comment, for example, in 2017, a study by Amnesty International found that Diane Abbott received almost half of all abusive tweets sent to the female MPs in the 6 weeks leading up to that year's general election.
And I'm guessing the number of abusive tweets sent to female MPs was not a small number.
That's right, yeah. And yes, exactly. So she got about 51 a day.
Fuck me.
Yeah. And she appeared at the equivalent of a congressional hearing. It was like a government committee hearing about this stuff in 2017.
We are not talking here about robust debate, however robust it is. We are talking about mindless abuse. And in my case, the mindless abuse has been characteristically racist and sexist. And just to outline, I've had death threats, I've had people tweeting that I should be hung if, quote, they could find a tree big enough to take the fat bitch's weight. There was an EDL-affiliated Twitter account, #BurnDianeAbbott. I've had rape threats, described as a pathetic, useless, fat, black piece of shit, ugly, fat, black bitch.
And she goes on to talk about the preponderance of the N-word being levied at her, and that somebody that worked with her, she said the most surprising thing about working with Diane Abbott is how often the N-word appears in the correspondence, and they talk about the fact that that's probably due to the anonymity of being able to post online, and also there's a swipe at, I think this is at the beginning of the conversation about having the social media platforms police this kind of stuff, and later on in British Politic News we talk about that as well, policing that. She also appeared like the day later, I think, on Good Morning Britain, morning TV show, to talk about that. And I watched that on YouTube and then looked at the comments below that on YouTube. And the clip was published on YouTube in 2024, I think. And there were people still posting. And one of the most recent ones said, "Truth hurts. Abbott is dumb."
Jesus.
And you just think, well, it's just perpetuating exactly what she's talking about. And just So our second example, Harriet Harman, there she is in 2014 reporting that during the 2007 to 2010 Labour government, Gordon Brown was the leader, and despite the fact that she got elected deputy leader of the Labour Party, she was not made deputy prime minister because she was a woman.
I'd won a hard-fought election, including against two men who were in the cabinet, to succeed John Prescott, who'd been deputy leader and deputy prime minister for 10 years. But when I won the deputy leadership, I became deputy leader, but I didn't become deputy prime minister. And I think if I'd have been in an ordinary job, I would have been up the tribunal with a sex discrimination case.
And the defence at the time by Gordon Brown was tenuous. He talked about continuity and all that kind of stuff. And you think, oh, really? And I mean, she got voted by the membership of the Labour Party.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to have a balance at the top of the, why wouldn't you, at the top of the tree? This is not long after, well, it's only 10 years after Blair's Labour government came to power, after John Major succeeded Margaret Thatcher. And yes, the Labour Party has never had a woman leader. That's, despite all their inclusivity and being sure to extol the virtues of all their female members, female ministers, they haven't done it. And the Tories, quite rightly, even though they're complete arseholes, got another female leader. And then Harriet Harman, actually, 10 years after that interview, she appeared on Sky News talking about Greg Wallace, who at the time was host of the MasterChef TV series, who made misogynist remarks. And she kind of sums up the whole of why people have difficulty accepting stuff from women and why they dismiss it.
I think that middle-class women of a certain age are the absolute nightmare for every misogynist man, because we have really done stuff and we believe in stuff and we are not shutting up, and we are going to speak up for our younger sisters who are enduring what we had to endure when we were younger, and we're actually not wanting anybody to have to put up with it anymore.
However, clearly Kemi Badenoch has not got the message about sisterhood when responding to Rachel Reeves' interview with The Times recently in the run-up to the budget, where Rachel Reeves says she is referred to as Rachel from Accounts. And in that same article, she said, "I'm sick of people mansplaining how to be Chancellor to me." And she also acknowledges still feeling the need to prove herself to the boys who now write newspaper columns. "I recognise I've got a target on me. You can see that in the media. They're going for me all the time. It's exhausting. But I'm not going to let them bring me down by undermining my character or my confidence. I've seen off a lot of those boys before and will continue to do so." However, Nick Robinson on the Today programme asked about Kemi Badenoch's response to Rachel Reeves' budget announcement.
What was striking to people was how personal you were. I mean, you called the Chancellor, in fact.
She is spineless, shameless, and completely aimless.
And then you attacked her for what you said was
wallowing in self-pity and whining about misogyny and mansplaining. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, let me explain to the Chancellor, woman to woman. People out there aren't complaining because she's female. They're complaining because she is utterly incompetent.
Ouch. I mean, did you hesitate before attacking another woman politician?
No, it wasn't. It's got nothing to do with her being a woman. I treat everybody equally. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. But when I walked in for Prime Minister's questions, I thought, oh my goodness, she looks absolutely broken. This OBR leak must be very upsetting for her. You know, I'll pull my punches. And then she launched into the most extraordinary tirade against Conservatives in her own speech, the first speech. So she started it.
She started it. Jesus Christ.
She started it, yeah. So there's Kemi perpetuating the ad feminam there. You're whining about misogyny and mansplaining. Yeah. And then saying, well, I didn't have a go at her because she's a woman. I had a go at everybody. And you think, well, yeah, but you've missed the point. You've not paid attention. Harriet Harman wrote a report about bullying, and it was only published in September this year, about bullying in the legal system, which is, and the findings were, yes, there was sexual harassment, there was bullying, there was misogyny, and there's, you know, the boys run the show and the women don't get a look in. So she's doing that perpetuating of the whole spiel, despite saying, oh, nobody's complaining that it's because you're a woman, it's because you're useless. Well, you just played into the whole thing about complaining about misogyny. Yes, quite rightly she should, because being called Rachel from accounts is a way to dismiss her entire...
It's belittling.
Her entire fitness for the role, and then to say, oh, you should be doing it like this. And it is the boys who now write the newspaper columns. And then to say, well, she started it. Because what Rachel Reeves actually said was, for all the damage that the Conservative cuts did to our schools and hospitals, they also doubled the national debt. Our next financial debt this year will be £2.6 trillion, 83% of GDP, meaning today 1 in every £10 the government spends is on debt interest. Not paying down the debt, just paying the interest on the debt that we inherited from the Conservatives.
God, what a vicious emotional
tirade
response
on the...
That's not with any facts, just hysterical woman talking, that wasn't it?
Yeah. Just, she's doing it. She's like, I was going to not do any of that because she looked like to go, oh, that's good. There you go. A little bit of solidarity. She looked really bad, really shaken by the fact that the OBR published it half an hour before she stood on her feet. But then she said that, pointed out the fact that, yes, because of the debt left by the Tories, by Liz Truss, they are paying the interest. 1 in every £10 pays on the interest. Doesn't reduce the debt, just pays the interest that they inherited. And it's sufficient to say, okay, I'm just going to let rip with ad feminam all over the place. Looking around for fallacies. Oh, I can't wait to find those wild ones. I'm searching round this Christmas, yeah. Well, I'm sure I'm going to find some. And there's so many, they're sure to be there. I'll sing this song. Find those wild fallacies. Oh yeah, there they are. Top to toe in falsehoods. Oh, I got red flags all around me. But soon there'll be the midterms, yeah. Get our feet on solid ground. So I sing for you, though you can't hear me when I get through and find those fallacies I'm hunting near and far. The fallacies in the wild. The great and sadly recently late Chris Rea with Driving Home for Christmas.
Fitting tribute.
Yeah.
That's what he would have wanted.
It's absolutely. Yeah.
So in the Fallacy in the Wild, we like to talk about the Fallacy of the Week from a non-political perspective. And our first example this week comes from Star Wars, the first/4th installment, the 1977. Because obviously, I couldn't find any sexism or misogyny in modern television or film. So I had to go all the way back to the 70s.
Had to go all the way back to the 70s. Yeah. Which is, ironically set into the future where everybody's equal.
No, it's a long, long time ago. It's not the future.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. In a far, far distant galaxy. It happens all over the bloody place. Yeah.
So, anyway, back in those days, they would say things like this. Very short clip. So listen out.
We can just avoid any more female advice. We ought to be able to get out of here. Well, let's get moving.
Yeah, Han Solo wanting to avoid female advice from Leia because they were just in the trash compactor.
Yeah.
But basically, everything Leia has suggested and will suggest from this point on is a far better idea and much safer and more likely to lead to success than anything Han does throughout the entire film.
And doesn't lead to somebody saying, I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. But female advice, we don't want that. The only way we're going to get out of here is avoiding all that female advice.
Yeah. God damn it. Yeah.
So our second example comes from Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy. Where, this is set in the past, I guess. It's set in probably the 70s era. And there's a little bit of misogyny in the office.
I need to use this machine so I can watch a tape for a story, Ron.
Well, I'm using the tape. I'm showing Jeffrey here my Emmy tape. We are watching history.
Mr. Burgundy, I'm a professional, and I would like to be able to do my job.
Well, big deal. I am very professional.
Mr. Burgundy, you are acting like a baby.
I'm not a baby. I'm a man. I am an Anchorman.
You are not a man. You are a big fat joke.
I'm a man who discovered the wheel and built the Eiffel Tower out of metal and brawn. That's what kind of man I am. You're just a woman with a small brain. With a brain a third the size of us. It's science.
So, Veronica, she's also attacking him, but she's attacking his lack of professionalism.
Yeah.
And, she calls him a baby. Because he's acting
he just behaves like
in that
one.
way. Yeah, in fact, she doesn't even call him a baby. She calls out his behaviour. She says he's acting like a baby.
Yeah.
And he attacks her because she's a woman, and therefore has a brain a third the size of men.
Yeah, and he's the man that invented the wheel. Yeah. It sounds exactly like Trump. Was it an allegory for Trump's television career? Oh, I think it could be read in such semiotic terms.
Yeah,
easily. Yeah.
So our final example in this section comes from Cheers. And this is an episode where Woody he's for some reason been paid to endorse vegetables, but actually doesn't really like vegetables, so he's feeling a bit guilty about it. And Frasier reckons he can help with Woody's aversion.
Well, do you know, Sigmund Freud might suggest that your aversion to vegetables stems from some early childhood trauma. You sputtered, my darling?
Honestly, Frasier, you must be the last psychiatrist on Earth who hasn't abandoned Sigmund Freud's theories.
What are you saying?
Merely that his theories are outdated, sexist superstitions, unsupported by a shred of clinical evidence.
You're drunk. My wife is completely smashed. Blotto. Sam, no more Boilermakers for Dr. Sterling Crane.
Frasier, I've had nothing to drink.
Ah, the worst kind of drunk.
So,
brilliant.
Lilith responds to his claim that Freud could help with Woody's problem with an evidence-based argument.
Yeah.
That actually a lot of his stuff's been debunked, it's sexist, it's outdated, it's not based on strong evidence, and he doesn't respond in kind. I think if he was challenged by Niles or another, Niles didn't appear in Cheers, obviously he didn't exist at this point in the Frasier timeline.
Was still his brother.
But if he'd been challenged by another male psychologist or psychiatrist that he respected, I think he probably would have reacted differently to that.
Right.
But even though Lilith is his wife, he treated her very dismissively.
Yeah. And then said, she's drunk. I haven't had a drop. The worst kind of drunk. Yeah, because he can't stand being debunked in public because he chips away at the foundations of his status in the room.
Absolutely.
Another allegory for Trump.
So we're gonna play
Fake news, folks. I love the game. It's a great game.
I understand the game as well as anybody. As well as anybody.
Yes, it's time for Fake News, the game where usually I read out 3 Trump quotes, 2 of which are real and 1 I made up, and Mark has to figure out which one is fake news.
Now, before we start this game, can I just check that your assumption that this game and its scoring system isn't considered to be just and fair merely on the basis that you're not a woman?
Well, yeah. No, we've discussed this game. I'm not claiming it's fair. It's just a game that we're both now stuck with.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't say consent to play. Yeah, no, doesn't happen. I was going to point that out with increasing vehemence each and every time. Yeah, but we're now stuck with. Yeah, can't disagree with that.
Yeah,
yes.
But this particular episode, because it's Christmas, we usually do something a little bit different, and you've got a chance for some extra points. Which is good because you dropped below.
I've dropped some. Yes, dropped
50%.
below. Yeah.
Because, you're currently on 87 out of 175.
Yeah, yeah.
But there are 9 statements,
my word.
of which
Crikey.
3 are made up by me. And these are a recognition of the kind of North Korean-like dear leader-ish comments that Trump's cabinet members will often make in the televised cabinet meetings. Turns out the first half hour is just people going around the table praising Trump.
We love you.
I assume he's told them to do that. I don't think it just kind of spontaneously happens. But they all come with prepared statements of how great he is.
Yeah.
It's not the only place it happens. People will make statements to the press, especially his communications people. But it's where most of those kinds of statements happen. So these are 9 things that have been said to or about Trump, and 3 of them are made up. Again, as is our tradition, 1 in the first 3, 1 in the second 3, and 1 in the third 3.
Yep.
So
the
first is from Stephen Chung, Trump's communications manager,
director,
possibly director.
Anyway, head.
He does the social media stuff. Anyway, he said, President Trump will continue making peace deals, ending wars and saving lives. He has the heart of a humanitarian, and there will never be anyone like him who can move mountains with the sheer force of his will.
Wow. Nice. Yes, he has the heart of a humanitarian. There it is, pinned to the wall. Used to belong to,
Statement number 2 is from Pam Bondi, the Attorney General. She said, Mr. President, I don't believe that any leader in human history has done more to keep their people safe. Nobody else could have achieved the amazing results you have, and I'm grateful to be a part of this incredible journey. Thank you.
Whoa. Wow.
And statement number 3, this is from Scott Bessent, economy. He's in charge of the economy somehow.
Sums.
Sir, as we've said very often, economic security is national security, and our country has never been so secure thanks to you. You have brought us back from the edge. You have the overwhelming mandate from the American people.
Wow. Are we going to do them in groups
Let's
of 3?
Let's do them in groups of 3, because otherwise there's a lot to remember.
The short-term memory is not what it was. Have we done the first 3? Yeah.
That's 3.
You're right, yeah. Short-term memory. I've said that already. Okay, well, number 3 has got the sir in there, which I think could be a deliberate act to find one with a sir in just to put me off the scent. Or that's the one that you wrote. Okay. Heart of humanitarian, everyone like him, move mountains short. Sheer force of his will, okay. So I'm a bit suspicious of Pam Bondi. This must have been early on in her sycophancy. Okay. All right. I think the Steve Chung one is the one that you made up.
Okay. Well, we'll do the
Mountains
results
of
at the
Cheer,
end.
Okay, right.
So I'll
Let me
I'll make
put
a note that you've chosen
make a
number
note.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, I'll forget. Short-term memory's not what it wants.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Statement
that
number
reminds
4.
me. My short-term memory. Yeah. Right.
Statement number 4. This is from Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of
Yeah.
Agriculture, I think. She
Right.
said, "I do believe we're in a revolution. 1776 was the first one. 1863 or so with Abraham Lincoln was the second. This is the third, with Donald
Yeah.
Trump leading the way, and we are saving America."
Wow. That's a bold statement, isn't it? I like that. 1863 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, roughly.
Wow. Yeah. Somewhere
Statement
around
number 5. This is Pam Bondi again.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in this country ever. Ever. Never seen anything like it. Thank you.
Wow. She's got a bit of a theme with the thank you going on.
And
Okay.
statement number
6.
6.
Yeah.
This is from Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation.
Right, yeah.
Sir, you are a builder, and that's what our country needed. You were handed a crumbling infrastructure and a failed nation, and you have fixed it in record time and given us a path forward.
Wow. Okay, Martin. Yeah, what did I choose the first one? Not Pam Bondi.
You chose Stephen Chung the first time.
Yeah, I think beginning to regret that. I think I should have chosen the Pam Bondi. I think that crumbling infrastructure and failed nation. Yeah, he ought to be he should be in charge of housing or something, shouldn't he? Okay, I think that the first 100 days has far exceeded that of any other presidency in that he's had 125 days in his 100 days. Yeah, I think you made up the Pam Bondi one, number 5. Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to change your mind on the first. Do you want to switch the first one to Pam Bondi as well?
Pam Bondi as well.
Or do you want to stick with Stephen Chung?
I'm going to stick with Stephen Chung. Yeah.
So
I can feel it all. It's all slipping
the
away.
Final
But
3
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Number 7. This is from Doug Burgum, the Secretary of the Interior, I think.
Right.
It's hard to keep them straight. He said, President Trump, in your first term, when I had a chance to work with you as governor, you were courageous. The thing that's empowering this amazing group of people around this table, and you've probably assembled the greatest cabinet ever, is that this time you're not just courageous, you're actually fearless.
Wow. That's great, isn't it? That's so, dear leader. Okay.
This one's Pam Bondi again. She's a repeat offender.
Okay. Yeah.
Statement number 8. She says, you, Donald Trump, have taken the handcuffs off of DEA agents, and as a result since you have been in office, President Trump, your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills, 3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media, 258 million lives.
She didn't thank him that time. Wow.
And
okay.
Finally, statement number 9.
Yep.
This is from Howard Lutnick.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what he does. Something to do with economy, but isn't that Scott Bessent? I don't know. Trade? Is he trade? Secretary of Trade? Something
maybe.
Like that.
Yeah.
Money-related things.
Right.
He says, it's no exaggeration to say that the changes you've implemented have freed American workers from a kind of indentured servitude and allowed them to dream the American dream once again. They were crushed by fear and debt and scared about how they were going to feed their families, and you have single-handedly saved them.
Wow. But I think that is an utter exaggeration. I'm just going to be bold and say that's the one you made.
No, he starts by saying it's no exaggeration, so that's...
But yeah, so obviously then it isn't. Yeah, I think that, though, the 258 million lives, I remember there was massive overestimate, which is quite good to have there on the third one. It's no exaggeration, which feels to me like a gym-sized gag. So I'm going to go with Howard Lutnick as the one you made up.
Okay, so number 9.
Yeah.
So you think that numbers 1, 5, and 9 are the ones that I made up? I'm not going to play all the clips because this would take ages.
Yeah, and it'd be awful. Yeah,
and it'd be very boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd have to listen to them. But I can tell you I'll go through them in order. Number 1, which you think is fake. That's real.
Yeah.
That was a tweet that Stephen Chung sent.
No. God, you can move mountains with the sheer force of his will.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That was based on the Nobel Committee not giving them the Peace Prize again.
Right. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah.
But yeah.
Wow.
You can move mountains, apparently.
Wow.
So number 2, the Pam Bondi one that you were a bit questionable about.
Yeah.
That one is fake. That one.
What? And you gave me the opportunity. I see. I was thinking it's a lure. I thought that was a lure.
I was being as kind as I possibly could, but
sadly. But it just also knowing full well that would put me off the scent. Yes.
So that means number 3 was real. Scott Bessent did say that the
God.
country has never been so secure thanks to Trump, and he brought us back from the edge.
Brought us back from the edge. Oh my God.
Yeah. So for the next 3. You thought number 5. Number 4, I do believe we're in a revolution. Britt Rollins, that's real.
No.
Yeah.
1863 or so. Yeah.
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 Pam Bondi, the one you think is fake. Mr. President, your first 100 days has far exceeded that of any presidency in this country ever. That's real.
What?
She really said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the crumbling infrastructure, a failed nation, that's
the crumbling
the fake
infrastructure
one.
on a failed nation fixed in record time. That was one I made up.
Very, very good. Yeah.
So number 7, President Trump, in your first term, you were courageous. Now you're fearless. Doug Burgum, that's real. He really said that.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. The Pam Bondi one, all the fentanyl pills saving 258 million lives.
Yeah.
That's what, 3/4 of the American population. That's real. She said
that. No. Wow. Yeah, there was something far too earnest about that not to be real. Yeah. Wow.
Which means, of course, that the Howard Lutnick one about single-handedly saving families from indentured servitude. That's I made that one up. Yeah.
Very good. But they're all equally ingratiating. That's
which means you did get that one right.
Yay!
Number 9. You got the other 2 wrong, so you get a
three
point.
Of a point.
You get a full point. I'm going to give you a full point. Which still won't bring you up. Will it bring you up? Yeah, no, exactly 50%.
Yes, I think that's what we said last time. That would do that. Yeah. Yay!
So yeah.
Wow.
Yay. You're back.
Bloody hell, brilliant. Yeah. But they're kind of, they must be, they're sort of things that they must work hard on because they've all got to be different from each other and they've got to praise him in particular ways and something to do with their department. Oh my!
It is.
God.
It is crazy, and it feels often. It feels like they're taking the piss.
Yeah,
because obviously he's just sitting there grinning, because he's got like 20 people sitting around a big table telling him how great he is, which is his wet dream, and he loves it. But it feels like they are competing with each other to see how ridiculous they can make it.
Yeah, and you could say it with just like a really sarcastic tone, and they would read just as believably as ultimately damaging knives in his back sarcasm.
So so we do have some social contestants, of course.
Yeah.
Just for the record, the correct answers were 2, 6, and 9. Those are the ones that I made up.
Right.
On Facebook, Fenix says, "Wow, Jim, how do you do it? Okay, I can easily imagine his toadying sycophant saying all of these things, but since you assure me that 3 of these statements are fake, I'm guessing numbers 2, 6, and 8. So 2 out of 3.
Oh, good work.
Well done.
Yeah.
Good.
That was the massive numbers that, you'd think nobody possibly would believe those numbers, but no, they do. Yeah.
Anders on Patreon says, "It's the 24th of December and I didn't read the rules until after I'd picked 4, 7, and 8 as fakes, and by little baby Jesus, I'm sticking with it." So, no, none of those were fake.
Those didn't. No.
Becca says, "Oh, lordy, this is a crapshoot, so I asked my cats. They just stared at me. Damn. Okay, dice rolls say 3, 6, 8. So one of those, 1 out of 3. Happy Christmas, Yule, belated Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, National Atheist, put up a tree with lights day, or whatever you celebrate. And don't get injured out shopping on Boxing Day." So, missed Festivus. Festivus is also good. Anyway, Renee Z says, "Well done, Jim, and good luck, Mark. From time to time, I've heard some of the ridiculous statements coming from the mouths of cabinet members, but these are all possibly real. Do the statements count if Trump was asleep while his cabinet members were praising their dear leader?" I'll choose the fake news as 3, 5, and 8, but I'm not confident in any of them. So, again, that's... none of those. All of those were real, unfortunately.
Yeah. I guess part of it is a kind of wish fulfillment that you just go, well, that just make that fake.
Yeah. And Richard says, I'm going to have to say this is a double bluff. All are so sickeningly sycophantic that all must be true. What are they getting out of this? Money is money, isn't it?
Yeah, gotta be. Yeah, like it's not even like there's a threat of death, because if you were working for the Queen of Hearts, who would just say off with your head, and then somebody would take the head off. I guess if he could do that, he would. So
he loves it. Yeah, given that power, he would absolutely be beheading people all over the place.
Left, right,
and centre. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, there we go. Well, that's a hell of a Christmas present. Yeah.
Well, I gave you a chance, but as usual, you squandered it. So.
Yeah.
And it's time for the part of the show that this week at least is called Redacted is Not a Logical Fallacy, because Epstein files have been released. Well, I say they've been released. They've over the last, because we're recording this on actually it's now Christmas Eve. Happy Christmas Eve. But yeah, on the night of the 23rd, it was I think the 20th. Was it the 20th that they were the deadline?
I think so.
They came up against, and they did not release. Well, they released about 11,000 of the files on the day they were supposed to release them, and since then, over the next couple of days, they've released a few thousand. I think today they released another 30,000, maybe. There's somewhere around 50,000 that have been released now. There are hundreds of thousands that haven't been released.
Yeah.
So they're very much in breach of the law that Trump himself signed, the Epstein Transparency Act.
And was there a link between that and Dan Bongino stepping down as the deputy leader of the FBI?
You could maybe conclude that he was going to have to talk about what came out when they are actually released and didn't want to do that.
Right.
I mean, from what I've seen of Bongino, he's hated being in. He's not in charge. He was deputy, who was then so they added another deputy because he couldn't handle being deputy on his own. But he's hated it every minute of it. He hasn't liked doing it. So
not least because he's been faced with the stonewalling by the department vis-a-vis the Epstein files, because that was kind of the entire shtick. When he was...
It was a big thing for his podcasting career, certainly.
Yeah. Ruined. Ruined now. Yeah, he'll appear in a D'Souza film talking about how he was...
Definitely. Another one, you mean?
Yeah. But he was in the last one talking about how he couldn't say things.
Yeah. So... Yeah, what's been released is a fraction of what the DOJ has. And promised that they would release. And again, the Epstein Transparency Act, the law that was passed after Congress came back from their self-imposed exile during the government shutdown, and then Trump himself signed, required them to release all of the files, and also put specific rules in place for what they were allowed to redact and how they had to handle those redactions.
Yes.
So they were only allowed to redact things that were related specifically to ongoing investigations that basically protected the identity of victims and that kind of thing. And they had to specify what reasons they were using for the redactions that they were making. They have not done any of that. They have not given reasons, and they have redacted, in some cases, literally like hundreds of pages documents. Of a document at a time. Full photographs, not just faces, like enormous amounts of stuff have just been black. Some full documents that are hundreds of pages or 50 pages or whatever are just full black. So they haven't done that, and they haven't released all of the stuff that they're supposed to. The people who really push this, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, have said that they are going to take whatever action they can to hold people accountable, and will be pushing for impeachment of people like Pam Bondi, and to do everything they can to make them release all of the things. And they are kind of filtering out gradually. The first release, the first day, most of the stuff that wasn't redacted was photos of Bill Clinton.
Right. Right.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
Including photos that had redaction images, like black blocks over people's faces in photos that had already previously been released to the public. Things that weren't seized by the DOJ or anything like that. They were. There was there was a photo of Bill Clinton with Michael Jackson and Diana Ross and 3 kids who had black blocks over their face, and those were Michael Jackson's kids and Diana Ross's son.
Right.
And that photo is out. It's like from an awards show or something like that. So things like that, kind of implying stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bill Clinton, incidentally, has gone on the record, I think today or yesterday, to say, release everything. We're not worried.
Yeah.
Release every bit of information you have. Go for it. I'm not sure that's a great idea for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's caught up in stuff that looks bad, but I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with it. But what they have done is an incredibly poor job of the attempt at hiding stuff that they're very clearly doing. They're obviously clear, trying to hide Trump's involvement in things, and some of the extra FBI agents that they drafted in to a specific venue to go through all of the files and redact them didn't get good training in how to do that, and used essentially highlighting a line and highlighting it as black in Word, which doesn't work, because then if you just select that and copy and paste it into a new document, you can unredact it. So while some stuff is fully redacted and like you can't gather what was under it, a lot of stuff has been unredacted by people who are looking through this stuff. And obviously, tens of thousands of pages. It's taking people a long time, and it's only the first few days. But people are looking through stuff and finding things that mention Trump in relation to stuff that where Trump is the bit that is redacted. And and
they kind of defined him as being a victim, because didn't the DOJ put out a tweet or something that said, yes, here are all the files, and it said even the DOJ declared their bias by saying, oh yeah, it was all, he hasn't committed any crime at all, he's perfectly innocent of all this stuff, but nonetheless we put this out.
Well, yeah, one thing they are doing is making it clear that just because there's a document doesn't mean it proves that someone was involved in wrongdoing, which is fair. It depends what the document says, but the fact that someone is mentioned in the files isn't showing that they have been actually involved in stuff. And in fact, some of the stuff they have in those files, when you just dump it onto a website and make it searchable and let people download stuff, you are taking it out of the context of how those documents were recovered, where they were found, what they were found amongst, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And at one point, there was a video supposedly of Epstein's suicide, which was very clearly in context a fake video. Yeah. But it was released without that context, which made people question what was going on a bit, because obviously we know that there isn't a video of Epstein's suicide. Yeah. I think a journalist, possibly Axios or Wired maybe, basically kind of reverse engineered the context for it by guessing the previous page of the website that it came from.
Right.
Based on context clues and stuff, and figured out that it actually, when you look at it, it's not real. There is also, most recently today, there's a letter that the DOJ claims is fake, from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar, the paedophile who was convicted of molesting teenage gymnasts. And the letter says, "Dear LN, Larry Nassar, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home," presumably a reference to committing suicide. He says, "Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system, Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. So reference to the fact that Trump also does what they did and gets away with it and is president, whereas they are in prison.
Yeah.
This may be fake.
Right.
The Justice Department, when it was released, said they're looking into it, and within 2 hours posted that they've decided it's fake.
Right. Because if it isn't, it's far
It's pretty fucking bad. That.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's hearsay. But it's pretty bad hearsay.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So it is maybe fake. There are signs that possibly point to it being fake, but it is an original fake. It's a fake from 2019. If it is, it's like it was supposedly sent by Epstein just before his death to Larry Nassar and then returned to sender because Larry Nassar wasn't anymore at the prison that it was sent to. So it arrived back at the Manhattan prison days after Epstein's death and was entered into evidence by and was shown to the FBI at that point. And it's not a new thing that has been kind of put together after Trump has become president again or anything like that. It's not a recent thing that's been inserted into the files or anything. This is something that there was reporting about at the time by the AP, and they were aware that there was a document that was supposedly a letter that Epstein had sent to NASA, but they hadn't seen it.
Okay, so it's not
maybe,
a brand
maybe
new
it's
invention.
Fake.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not fake. I think it's probably a little early to decide at the moment.
Yeah,
but
certainly,
the DOJ
take longer than 2 hours to.
Yeah, they're definitely claiming it's fake. It is weird because they have had it for 6 years, so it's a bit weird that they didn't look into whether it was fake until they put it out on the internet and then went, right, well, now we're looking into it, and then quickly within 2 hours they went, we don't reckon it's real. But that's how they've dealt with that.
That's how they roll.
But again, that's like one of tens of thousands of documents that are already out there. They want to make it clear, and I think it's probably fair to accept that even though a document exists in their files, it doesn't mean that the things that are said in that document are necessarily true. They may well have things that people wrote to each other or said to each other, or that they were lying about, or that there isn't evidence of, or was
or that
created at a time.
And that's the context of any investigation you want them to do, is to say, well, this is somebody being vindictive in order to try and incriminate somebody else, or the thing that happened didn't happen. Rather than just say, oh, well, that's clearly fake, or take a photo down that was previously available because it's got Trump in it.
That's not great. One of the things that has come out, because there hasn't been a lot of revelations, as you might expect, when they only release a fraction of what's available, and most of that is heavily redacted. There hasn't been anything that has pointed directly to individuals that would be something that you would expect them to do something about as a Justice Department as of yet. But there have been references to co-conspirators, 10 co-conspirators of Epstein, and also other participants, like they call them participant witnesses, in the whole of the Epstein Island, Epstein kind of sex trafficking thing. The Department of Justice has said that it was just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and there was no reason to assume anyone else was involved, or that he procured people for anyone else, or anything like that. That there were no clients, there were no other people involved. That seems like it's not true.
Well,
some of that is in stuff that they've released unredacted, and some of it is in stuff that has been unredacted by the cutting and pasting thing, where they have pointed to participant witnesses that were questioned and have presumably got affidavits or testimony on file, or at least notes of their questioning, you would think. So the situation we're in at the moment, which is partly what was expected at this point, because first of all, no one really expected them to release all of the stuff. But even if they had, if they'd released the hundreds of thousands of pages at this point, no one has the time to go through all of that in this short period of time, so we wouldn't find out anything. But the situation we're in at the moment is that there's stuff, there's new information that we hadn't had before. There's a lot of dots to connect of information that is kind of slightly new. There's a lot of stuff that was already previously released. The redactions have been done inconsistently, so in some documents where even a victim is named, sometimes that person is not named in another document when they are referred to in a way that you can recognize it's supposed to be about the same person. So they've done it quickly, shoddily, and certainly in a biased way that avoids mentioning Trump where possible, when the law that Trump signed
that said don't
specifically
do that.
says that protecting someone because of political reasons is not a basis for redactions.
So at least there's grounds therefore to demand access to the unredacted files, but also Trump won't do anything about that because it's all his performative politics stuff, isn't it? People will say, oh yeah, he's upholding the law, so he's kind of covering his arse.
I mean, some people have said that they are kind of following the spirit of the law, which they aren't, because the spirit of the law gave them. They fought not to release them for a year, and then left it until like the 5 p.m. on the last day, and then released
some of it,
fraction of a % of the stuff they had, and mostly that was black. So no, they aren't. They aren't following the spirit of the law. They aren't following the letter of the law.
Having said there isn't anything, and then saying,
this is all a Democrat hoax. Remember? This is all a Democrat hoax that only implicates Democrats. Somehow.
So they
also desperately needs redactions from the DOJ to protect the innocent
and Trump. And to maintain Trump's innocence, and also
he's the
to
only
play
one.
the wider game of shutting down the broader network of those people involved in the trafficking, because that will just spider web out. Is that the word? Anyway, it will kind of go out and out and out, so much so that they won't be able to control it. So they're those participant witnesses that we never knew about, now that we know about them, that they're trying to redact that in order to keep the possibility of covering up for Trump focused. Because if it goes off to 10 or more participant witnesses, oh my God, that's going to be a absolute nightmare to keep Trump's name out of, particularly if there are overlaps and one person's story backs up another person's story. That leads you to think, oh, well, that's worth investigating then, because why are they all saying that? Is it because they're all vicious and vindictive and they're making stuff up in order to get somebody else into trouble? Or is there something in it? And that's what we need to look at. It feels like the bastard son of WikiLeaks and a Mueller investigation. It's that huge amount of stuff that it will take people time to pore over. Meanwhile, the Republicans are pouring yet more flannel into the equation by saying, oh yeah, well no, he's innocent all along. And even the DOJ kind of saying, oh, he's innocent, but we'll put this stuff out anyway because we have to, and we are upholding the spirit of the law. Well, if you were upholding the spirit of the law, you wouldn't preface it by saying he's innocent and it's a conspiracy. And
stuff will continue to come out, because even though they will probably, I would think they're going to release like the worst stuff on Christmas Day or something like that, in the hope that no one's going to be paying attention. But people are paying attention. They have consistently underestimated the interest that the American public and the reporters have for this stuff. They've consistently claimed that no one cares really about it. It's not that important.
Despite Trump telling us that we're not interested.
But people will pore over it, and reporters, independent reporters, and even some mainstream reporters, and citizen journalists. Some of the people who first discovered, I don't think it was Krasenstein, the Krasenstein brothers who found the copy and paste kind of hack for unredacting stuff, but they certainly popularized it and let a lot of people know that. And since then, a lot of people have been doing that and saying, oh, here's a thing I found that was previously redacted, and kind of documenting the process with how they're doing it, so that it's not like, because there's a couple of photos that were released by the Democrats of the Oversight Committee, where there was one that had Trump and some women with black boxes over their faces. And I don't think this has been fully litigated yet to find out exactly what the case is. It's possible that they were models at a Hawaiian Tropic event, and actually that photo had been out for a while, but that's been muddied by some Republicans or Republican supporters stepping in to try and claim that that photo had already been out there by unredacting the black boxes with AI.
Wow.
And so there are now multiple versions of that photo online with different people's faces there because the AI isn't, doesn't create the same faces each time.
Yeah.
So that has made it actually, if it is, which it probably is from an old event, because again, that's that's what has been released in the DOJ files as well, is photos of people with black boxes over people who have already appeared in publicly released photos of that event.
Yes.
It may well be that it is a previously released photo, but the people who are trying to protect the paedophiles aren't making it easy to determine what the truth is. Shockingly.
Yeah. There must be a whole bunch of online journalists going to the Wayback Machine to kind of find the previous. Now wasn't there a move on the part of the Trump administration to stop certain sites being required to submit their stuff to the kind of Internet History file type thing?
Well, because the Internet Archive is obviously a private thing, and you can already request, I think, that your site or a site you control isn't archived by it. But all the government stuff is supposed to be archived by the National Archives anyway, so that's kind of irrelevant.
So all of the stuff that was previously on the DOJ website and that disappeared will exist somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's part of the
people are screenshotting,
reconstruct it. Yeah,
a lot of stuff because stuff is
know full well it'll disappear,
being removed.
Yeah,
that has been posted because they don't know what they're doing, so they're posting stuff and then realizing, actually that might make someone look bad, so I'll take that down.
It's kind of
arguably
like
that might be why they're doing it.
yeah. Well, it smacks of that fiction novel 1984, where the entire departments are going through. The Ministry of Truth is going through all of the newspapers and altering the contents in order to protect the leader and the party. Yeah, just if only people had paid attention and read that rather than being disparaged about it on the right wing. There's all the playbook you need. Just do that.
Yeah, but stuff will continue to come out, and I think that some of that stuff will involve Trump. I mean, there was one that, again, wasn't redacted, that was an email from 2021, I think, of like an internal Justice Department email saying that it turned out that Trump had been on Epstein's plane many more times than they had previously had records for. There's going to be. In fact, when this law passed, a friend of mine said, well, how are we going to know if they release everything?
Right.
Due to the volume of stuff we know they have, it's very, very fucking clear that they haven't released everything yet.
Yeah.
But one of the things I said to him was that there will be, in some cases, there'll be documents that refer to other documents, and if we don't see those other documents they're referring to, then we know that we haven't seen everything yet. And, there are people whose job is or used to be doing this for a living, and they are prepared to put in the time to make sure that the stuff that we see is the stuff that is available. And I think it'll be... Well, I don't know that we'll get everything. I mean, obviously, we won't get everything unredacted and probably shouldn't in order to keep people who should be kept confidential. But a lot should
the people
be
that are guilty.
Unredacted from what they currently have. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I would be shocked if they end up releasing all of the documents, even if it takes months to do that. But we'll see.
It does feel like the Russia investigation, the Mueller investigation, and the Jack Smith investigations, all of that stuff where the rule of law is employed and then it's just trodden all over because Trump has a vast army of sycophants that look after his every interest for some reason, because they're all been recruited to the cult. And it just...
Why they've been recruited.
Yeah. And finally, some things we really don't have time to talk about.
In Trump's first term, he went through 4 chiefs of staff, but so far this time round, he's stuck with just Susie Wiles. I assume that's because she says yes to whatever idiotic shit he wants to do and praises his ability to stand up and spout bullshit for hours on end. It certainly can't be because she's competent, since based on the latest piece in Vanity Fair, she hasn't figured out that journalists write down the stuff you say and tell other people about it. She told reporter Chris Whipple that J.D. Vance was a conspiracy theorist, Russell Vought was a right-wing absolute zealot, and Elon Musk an avowed ketamine user. Wiles has claimed that her words have been taken out of context and disingenuously framed, and told the New York Times she never said the Musk quote in particular, saying, "That's ridiculous, I wouldn't have said it and I wouldn't know." Apparently there are still a few actual journalists at the New York Times, and they contacted Chris Whipple, who played them the tape of her saying it. Whipple maintains the quotes were used in context, and it is pretty hard to see what kind of context could be added to make them great things to say. About Trump himself, Wiles said he has an alcoholic's personality and operates with a view that there's nothing he can't do. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. So, totally healthy and cool then. No notes. Meanwhile, Vanity Fair, who I'm guessing have made peace with the fact they're not getting invited back to the White House for the next few years, accompanied the interview with some of the most amazing photojournalism I've seen this year.
Oh,
Photographer
yes.
Chris Anderson documented various administration members, including Vance, Wiles, Marco Rubio, Stephen Miller and Caroline Leavitt, and I can only assume they all believed they would look powerful, dominant and in control. But Anderson, a highly talented and experienced photojournalist, took the ugliest, most awkward portraits I've ever seen, which brilliantly showcased how out of place, inadequate and pointless these idiots are. Tiny in the frame, pushed back against a wall like an unwanted piece of furniture at a party, swamped by untidy light fixtures, loose cables, thermostat controls, wrinkled flags, cheap posters, and in Susie Wiles' case, a staff member on the phone in another room through an open doorway, doing the real work while she tries in vain not to look like a startled badger, thinking back about all the shit-talking she's done about her co-workers over the past year. It was glorious.
It's the kind of stuff, given that we go out of our way when we're doing lens-based stuff to make it all obey all the rules and just to look at the stuff, and it just made you kind of itch just to look at the framing. Just
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I've had the experience before when I go into a room to film someone. And they're like, yeah, this will be fine in here. And I'm like, well, no, this will be terrible because there's background noise we can't turn off and the lighting is awful and stuff like that. I know as soon as I go in the room because that's what I do. And they don't know. And if you're looking at a photo like that and you don't take photos regularly or know the rules of taking photos, you just feel, oh, I don't like it. I'm not sure why. But we're looking at it and going, oh, well, or like these 18 things are wrong with this photo in particular. And why it makes this person look terrible. It's amazing. There's no question that he deliberately made them look as bad as possible.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I think we should frame them and put them up in Fallacious Towers.
The one of Marco Rubio looking like he's a toddler doing a shit in the corner of the room is amazing.
I want that on a T-shirt. Yeah.
Just that, yeah.
With all the fake surprise of someone arriving at a surprise party that they organised because they don't like surprises, fascist voodoo doll Barbie Caroline Leavitt announced on X Twitter, "I've just been informed that the highly respected board of the Kennedy Center, some of the most successful people from all parts of the world, have just voted unanimously to rename the Kennedy Center to the Trump Kennedy Center. Because of all the unbelievable work President Trump has done over the last year in saving the building. And not because of his frail, needy ego, because no one other than him wants to name anything after him ever. Apart from firing everyone on the board and installing his own puppety sycophants, and thus it's no surprise that they'll say anything he wants them to say, the vote wasn't unanimous. An hour after Leavitt's announcement, Representative Joyce Beatty, the Democrat for Ohio, an ex officio member of the board at the Kennedy Center, posted that she was muted on the call and denied the opportunity to speak or register my opposition. That is not consensus, that is censorship. And apart from the fact that the renaming is illegal, as Congress did not give the board the authority to change the name of the Kennedy Center, is there anything more on the nose for this administration than literally muting a black woman so that they can claim the vote was unanimous to rename a beloved culture and arts institution after an openly white supremacist president? I'm sure JFK will be proud and thankful for Leavitt thinking of him in the same post. Congratulations to President Donald Trump, and likewise, congratulations to President Kennedy, because this will be a truly great team long into the future. And that's what it's for, to guarantee some sort of immortality for Trump long into the future. Yeah, Not going to happen, Donny. Soon as you're dead meat, matey, you're being erased. Even Stalin got erased from the Museum of the Revolution. All together now, the sun will come up tomorrow.
The Economist just recently did a poll with YouGov about how popular the things Trump has done in 2025 are, or unpopular.
Yeah.
And this renaming of the Kennedy Center came out as the least popular thing he's done.
Wow, blimey.
18% of people approve of him renaming the Kennedy Center. 66% disapprove. It's less popular than invading Venezuela. So
yeah, it's all the trappings of an emperor desperate to leave a legacy, isn't it?
Yeah, because his ballroom's never getting built, is it? So
no, and and they're going to just change it all once he's gone. Yeah, take out all the Home Depot gold sprayed things in the Oval Office.
if you had to prove where you were born, where would you start, and how much proof could you gather quickly? For most of us, it probably won't be much of an issue, but that's not the case for all Americans right now. If you had your birth certificate, you might imagine that would be enough. How about if you also had medical records of your immunisation records from when you were a baby? Multiple affidavits from people who can confirm they were present at your birth? How about medical records from the hospital that show you were born there? Yeah, of course that's enough to convince literally anyone that you're a citizen, unless those people don't give a shit about objective reality because it gets in the way of deporting people. That's why people like Dulce Diaz Morales, who was arrested by ICE for existing while brown on December 14th, has now been deported, probably to Mexico, but nobody seems to know. She and her sister were on her way to pick up some Taco Bell in Baltimore and were surrounded by several law enforcement vehicles. Dulce, who has no criminal record by the way, was arrested and put in a van, and her sister Shirley, whose skin is lighter, was released. Attorneys presented all the evidence I mentioned earlier that she was born in Maryland and got an injunction from the court saying she wasn't allowed to be moved from the jurisdiction, but she was transferred to Louisiana, and then, despite a US district court ruling that she could not be deported pending a hearing, her family was informed that she had in fact been deported, and her attorneys have not been able to confirm where. The DHS claims, without apparently providing any evidence, that her birth certificate is fake and just pretends that none of the corroborating evidence exists, saying she did not provide a valid US birth certificate or any evidence in support of her claim that she's a US citizen. So, in conclusion, fuck ICE.
In a similar vein to cancelling despots, it'll happen to you, Donny, or perhaps retaining statues of slave owners but putting explanatory plaques next to them to inform and educate. Trump has taken to annotating the portraits of previous presidents along the White House colonnade Presidential Walk of Fame. Of course, this is to misinform and uneducate, and is the presidential equivalent of sitting in the middle of the aisle at Walmart, balling his fists and bawling, "Oh, but why can't I be as respected as they were?" Well, the clue as to why that might be is because the plaques under Biden and Obama are obviously emanating from the fevered ego brow of multiple exclamation marks, sporadic capitalizations and punctuation 3-year-old vocabulary meister, Trump himself. They insult and make unfounded claims, sounding like scrawlings made in a secret treehouse next to pictures of the kids that bullied Trump torn from the kindergarten yearbook. Biden's plaque reads, "Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history," adding that he took office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States, and that Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. Obama's ends with the false claim that he spied on the 2016 presidential campaign of Donald J. Trump and presided over the creation of the Russia hoax, the worst political scandal in American history. The plaques are eloquently written descriptions of each president and the legacy they left behind. As a student of history, many were written directly by the president himself, arse-licking press lackey Levitt said in a statement. Yeah, no shit. Sorry, yeah, no shit.
Traditionally, when the White House announces that the president is going to give an address to the nation, and every major TV network takes a break from their regular programming to carry the address live, it's because something important has happened. War's broken out, they've decided to resign, someone landed on a moon. But we don't live in traditional times. So, when Trump addressed the nation for 20 minutes on Wednesday night, it was mostly to shout at Americans for not being happy enough about all the things he pretends he's accomplished. Gas and groceries are so cheap now, so why are my approval ratings in the toilet? You're all idiots. I'm paraphrasing, but honestly not that much. It was basically a condensed rally speech, and as such contained slightly more than usual lies per minute, such that Daniel Dale, CNN's fact-checker, did his usual fact-checking later that night and then had to add more the following morning because he realised he hadn't covered everything.
Wow.
Some of the topics Trump lied about included inflation, grocery prices, prescription drug prices, coal, foreign investments, immigration, peace deals, the one big beautiful bill, crime and healthcare. A whole new lie involved the promise to send a Christmas bonus of $1,776 to the troops as a warrior dividend, which he claimed was thanks to all the money raised by his tariffs. But in fact, this is just money that was already allocated by Congress for military housing assistance, not new money that Trump has decided to give them. So, in conclusion, fuck Trump.
Former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith told lawmakers in a closed-door interview on Wednesday that his team of investigators developed proof beyond a reasonable doubt that President Donald Trump had criminally conspired to overturn the results of the 2020 election, according to portions of his opening statement obtained by the Associated Press. Smith also said investigators had accrued powerful evidence that Trump broke the law by hoarding classified documents in his first term as president at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, and by obstructing government efforts to recover the records. Multiple prior Justice Department special counsels, including Robert Mueller, had testified publicly, but Smith was summoned for just a private interview. Several Democrats who emerged from Smith's interview said they can understand why Republicans didn't want an open hearing based on the damaging testimony about Trump they said Smith offered. And if asked whether he would prosecute a former president based on the same facts today, Smith said, "I would do so, regardless of whether the president was a Republican or a Democrat." And Democrat members of the House Judiciary Committee hearing the deposition congratulated Smith on his courage and resolve in schooling the committee on the professional responsibilities of a prosecutor and the ethical duties of a prosecutor. The committee chairman, Republican Jim Jordan, told reporters, "I think we've learned some interesting things. Perhaps this is the moment in the Salem witch trials, as Arthur Miller told in The Crucible, and its allegorical context, the McCarthy trials, where daylight and sense floods in to reveal the hounding of Smith as retribution that it is, being piled on him by an administration that is guilty on all charges." Well, let's hope Trump lives long enough to be an ex-president and can somehow face Smith's charges as a civilian.
Last year, Trump sued the Pulitzer Prize Board for defamation based on the fact that they refused to rescind the awards given to journalists who had reported on the Trump campaign's ties to Russia in 2016. What Trump failed to realise is that he's an incompetent narcissist, and everyone he surrounds himself with is an incompetent sycophant, and the smartest person among them is much stupider than the dumbest person members of the Pulitzer Board have ever held a conversation with. Consequently, the Pulitzer Board filed documents last week demanding discovery in the case, and it's fucking devastating. They say that to show harm and therefore extract damages, he must obviously claim that he's either been financially harmed or suffered physical or mental distress. And as such, they need to see all of his tax returns from all jurisdictions, including all attachments, schedules and worksheets from 2015 to the present day, documents sufficient to show all sources of your income over the same period, documents sufficient to show all of his financial holdings and his liabilities. As for the health aspect, they're going to need all documents, whether held by you or third parties under your control or who could produce them at your direction, concerning your medical and or psychological health from January 1st, 2015 to present, including any prescription medications that you have been prescribed or have taken.
Wow.
In the unlikely situation Trump doesn't want to provide them with any of this, they offer him an out, which is to confirm in writing that he doesn't want to seek any such damages. This is super fun because all the Pulitzer Board really needed to do to win the lawsuit was to show that their processes were robust and that the reporting they awarded has fully held up to scrutiny, but they decided to have a little fun with it.
Nice. BBC, take note. That'd be great if they
Absolutely.
just put all that out. That's excellent, isn't it? In Blighty this week, police leaders are set to recommend scrapping non-crime hate incidents, NCHIs, in a review to be published next month. NCHIs are alleged acts motivated by hostility or prejudice towards people with certain characteristics such as race or gender, but which do not meet the bar for a criminal offence. Current Home Office guidance says they are recorded to collect data on hate incidents that could escalate into more serious harm, but critics say they divert police resources and restrict freedom of speech. College of Policing Chair Lord Herbert said an explosion of social media in the years since they were introduced has meant police have been drawn into monitoring mere disputes online. Officers do not want to be policing tweets, he said. Meanwhile, officers have been policing bits of cardboard, when Greta Thunberg got arrested today for allegedly holding a placard supporting Palestine action, knowing full well that such an act by notoriously mild-mannered Greta could escalate to more serious harm, like diverting police resources and restricting freedom of speech. In other matters, caving under pressure from long-standing family farmers like Nigel Farage and Jeremy Clarkson, Rachel Reeves has watered down the inheritance tax burden for farms, lifting the threshold for paying inheritance tax from farms worth $1 million to now being levied when they're valued at $2.5 million or above, because no system of reckoning could possibly be made to work out who had owned a farm since time immemorial and who had bought them in the early 2000s as a tax dodge to avoid inheritance tax. Crikey, the Rozzers will be expected to start policing family trees next.
So that's all the bad arguments and faulty reasoning we have time for this year. You'll find the show notes at fallacioustrump.com, and if you hear Trump say something stupid and want to ask if it's a fallacy, our contact details are on the contact page.
If you think we've used a fallacy ourselves, let us know, and if you've had a good time, please give us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, or simply tell one other person in person about how much they'd like our podcast. And you can support the show at patreon.com/ftrump, just like our strawman level patrons Chuck Gray, Mike Smith, LT, Colleen Ayala, Richard Thunder Hopkins, Will M. Scott, Mark Reike and Amber R. Buchanan, who told us when we met her at QED we could just call her Amber. And last year at QED I met the listener who recognised her at QED the year before because we keep using her full name all the time. And this year we delighted in the lack of music and the remote ordering system at Wetherspoons whilst contemplating the interconnectedness of all things. And our true Scotsman level patrons Renee Z, Melissa Sitek, Steva Pickle, Janet Uetta, Andrew Hout, and our top patron Kaz Tui. Thank you so much for your continued support this entire year. It's very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
And you can connect with those awesome people as well as us and other listeners in the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/fallacioustrump or in the Discord at fallacioustrump.com/discord.
All music is by The Outbursts and was used with permission, so until next time on Fallacious Trump, we'll leave the last word to that Grinch, the Donald.
That's right. Go home to mommy. Bye. Bye.